Good morning. Hello, Amela. Oh, that was quick. Wow, first one here. Welcome everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Good morning, good afternoon. Well, not afternoon for most places yet, but I guess depends on where you are in the world. Welcome to today's one and only live stream. Subject to change, of course, but I think anyway. We are in the Cessna L-19 Bird Dog. We're flying out of Wiesbaden Army Airfield. We're going to head over and check out this whole area right here in Frankfurt. And we'll have story time as well. So, hopefully everybody's doing well. Yeah, that was quick. I was having a little bit of technical difficulty. For some reason, my Windows changed on my tab for Twitch, and I was trying to get it all set up so it's easier to see and everything, and it was just being a pain in the butt. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get in here and get our weather changed to nice and sunny so we can see what we're wanting to see and all that. So hopefully everybody's doing well. You're up early, Mela. Normally you're a little bit later in the stream. You come in. So anyway, yeah, we don't want all that. We don't need all that rain. There we go. That's much better. And we don't want I'm talking to ATC just yet. Let's see, we got to change that. Oops. And that.
Wiesbaden traffic Bird Dog 237 taking off runway 07 departing straight out.
Sure, I think that should be. Oh, we gotta prime the engine. What else am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting something else. Oh, the mixture, that's right. There we go. That should do it. There it is. Let's get our lights on. All right. Right, where is... Oh, that way. Okay. There we go. All right. We'll get there one way or another. Well, this thing just wants to just... I tell you, I don't know what it is, but this thing is like ridiculous when it comes to... Like, it's got its own freaking mind. All right, Amela. So since we are in... We're taking off from an army airfield, Air Force Base. I figured we'll just put the Army livery on here. Something a little eye-catching. Oh, look, there's one there. Wow, this thing just wants, I don't know why, but it is very difficult to steer sometimes. Like it wants to go all over the place. I don't quite understand why that is. Get a little flap down so we're ready for takeoff.
V-Spot and traffic Bird Dog 237 is taxiing to runway 07.
Now, I can't say that I've ever been to this Army airfield. I did land at Frankfurt when I was first assigned to Germany. I swear, like, it's just got, the throttle's got a mind of its own. I don't know how this thing suddenly gained so much speed. You know. Hello, Cassie. How are you? Nice to see you. Yes, it is. The L-19. Yep. It's a fun little plane. It's just taxiing it is just a real chore because it's got it. It doesn't want to steer. You know, like it. You steer, but then it goes into a circle or something almost. Like it doesn't always want to follow directions, but yeah, otherwise it's a fun little plane to fly. So it's definitely worth it because you get a lot of different liveries with the plane. You get the Army version, you get the Air Force, a couple different Air Force versions. Hey, look at that. We can open the windows. Ah, there we go. Get a little air flowing through the plane. Yeah, it's a pretty good little plane. Once you get it up in the air, it's pretty fun to fly, so I'm good, Cassie. Just, I had so Monday I had to, I got 2 shots. I got my tetanus update, and then I got the first of 2 shingles vaccines. And then once you get them, you're done for life, apparently. You'll never have to get them again. But, boy, it really just, I was wiped out after I flew last night. Like, I could barely stay awake watching Paulson in his stream for Borderlands. Alright, let's see.
V-Spot and traffic Bird Dog 237 taking off runway 07 departing straight out.
Guess that's all I gotta do. Say runway 7? Oh, alright. So, yeah, I did. I went to bed early last night. I ate dinner, waited for it to, you know, kind of let my food settle, took some Tylenol, because I got the, you know, kind of like that, those aches and pains from, you know, like you get when you get the cold or whatever. So I just slept pretty much through the night. I knocked out. I was tired. Why is this not?
V-Spot and traffic Bird Dog 237 taking off runway 07 departing straight out.
Okay, I've contacted them a couple times, but oh well. Let's go. Morning, Bex. Good morning, Chris. Yeah, I did too. The second one laid me out for a couple days, Cassie. I was miserable. this thing just isn't, anyways. Alright, we're in the air. Let's contact, I think that's probably Frankfurt approach.
Approach Bird Dog 237 is type Cessna Bird Dog 1 miles east of Wiesbaden, 1,100 feet. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace.
Bird Dog 237 approach. Squawk 0327.
Oh.
Squawk 0327 Bird Dog 237.
I gotta turn on the,
Bird Dog 237 radar contact 2 miles east of Wiesbaden, 1,500 feet. Cleared through the Bravo airspace. Maintain own navigation.
Alright.
Honolulu 1203 traffic is 1 o'clock 3 miles at 5,000 feet generic. Report them in sight. Honolulu 1203, have the generic in sight.
To AOI manual for this. I've been studying it before I get it. No, that's okay. I appreciate it though. I'll look it up later on if I there. The only thing that I can tell you now is there's no checklist, like startup procedure checklist. It was kind of like I did it basically with kind of trial and error, just looking around. So yeah, just be prepared for that. We'll close the windows here so we can always pop in here. No, it's not an afternoon flight. Alright, so we are near, trying to find, if I could find the Frankfurt airport. I think I'm going the wrong way. No, it should be.
United 46UR2, 8 miles west. Climb and maintain 5,000 feet.
Oh, why isn't my co-pilot talking to them?
454 transition. Cleared to DF 454.
Okay, yep, there's Frankfurt International.
Cleared through the Bravo airspace Bird Dog 237.
Okay.
Maintain 5,000 feet. Expect ILS Yankee runway 7 left approach by DF 454 transition cleared to DF 454 United 46.
Yeah. I'm doing good. I'm doing okay, Bex. I got some really good sleep last night. I went to bed as soon as, not long after Pulse wrapped up his Borderlands 3 stream. I know he was, running around looking for, all that stuff for his, platinum and all that. And I was struggling to stay awake, but I ate dinner, and then I kind of waited a little bit, and then I knocked out. I took some Tylenol, went to bed, and just I was done for the night. So I feel a little bit better rested. Not that I'm complaining or anything, so please don't take it that way. I was really, it was like all of a sudden after I finished the island hopping last night, I was just really wiped out. I don't know why, but I was just, it was like all of a sudden I had no energy, so, but it all worked out. Yeah, I'm fine. I was just tired more than anything. I got those aches and pains like you get from when you get the flu or the cold. Get a cold and you're just kind of like, oh, you're just miserable. So I'm fine. I just, I went to bed and just I watched a little bit of TV while I waited for dinner to kind of settle, and then because I knew if I didn't do that, I was going to be up all night. And so, but yeah, I just got to bed and went to sleep and just slept through the night. And, yeah, so it's all good. So hopefully everybody else is doing okay. Yeah, I'm fine. It's just, you know, I never know how these vaccines are going to affect me sometimes. And I wasn't expecting to do the shingles vaccine because I'd gotten chickenpox, and you know, I'd heard that if you had chickenpox as a kid, you shouldn't get shingles as an adult. But they're, you know, gotta love Big Pharma. They're peddling their stuff, and give everybody all this, you know. I'm just like, whatever. I don't even. It's like I just don't even care enough anymore to fight it, because it's just like you try to reason with people and say, well, but I was told this. Well, no, we recommend that you find whatever, push it in. I don't care. Do I got to drop my pants? You got to put it in the butt cheek? I don't care. Let's just get it over with, so you can just shut up and let me get out of here. And, you know, oh, that's not what I wanted. I don't know why it does that. Anyway, so as I was saying before, well, I had it, you know, when I was probably in my, might have been like 5 or 6. I was miserable. Oh my God, that shit sucked. But I was a kid. I wasn't a newborn, but I had it as a kid. I think I was like in grade school or something like that. Anyway, so I've been to Frankfurt. Flew in here to Frankfurt, Maine, and in the military. You land, and then there's like a whole, I don't know if it's still the case now, but they had a whole section of the airport, not a section, but a building basically, that was set up that as soon as you get there, they kind of just, they get you in process and everything. It's a very quick process, and then you go from there to your next level of command. So I went to my brigade headquarters in Stuttgart, and then got, we gotta get down a little lower. We're way too high to be able to see stuff here. And then went to my battalion in Heilbronn. So it was like you bounce around like all day is just nothing but having your paperwork checked over, filling out any documents that they need you to fill out, all that kind of stuff. It's a bit of a, let's get some altitude dropped here. We don't need to be up this high. We're not going to be able to see much of any. Well, there's the train station there. So yeah, once I was, you know, in Germany, in country properly, unless they're army nurses in training and your last name starts with a W. Yeah. So, so yeah, I got, you know, once I was in Heilbronn, basically I never came back up this way for any reason. You know, I wish I had visited Frankfurt, because, you know, it's a major, you know, certainly when the Berlin Wall was up, Frankfurt, I think, represented what was West Germany at that point. And, you know, this certainly was a target for the Soviet you know, the Soviet army, the Russian, you know, the Soviet military, if they were ever going to start a war in Europe, you know, certainly Frankfurt probably would have been a prime target for them. But yeah, I wish I had gone back up and, well, my bigger wish is that I traveled more around Europe while I was there. I didn't really travel as much as I should have, so yeah, it's yeah, and the interesting thing is when you get off the plane, like when I got off the plane in Germany, right now, it may blow some people's minds. Other people are probably like, yeah, that's, I guess, to be expected. But when I got there was inside the police inside the airport area there, like the passenger, areas. And one officer had an Uzi, and another one had an MP5, and they, they didn't look like anybody you would want to mess with, but yeah, it's kind of jarring when you see that, because we don't see something like that in America. So it was a very eye-opening experience, and I just was like, okay, I just want to go to wherever I need to be. So yeah, that was a bit of an eye-opener for me. But yeah, it was crazy. Alright, we'll come back around here since we wanted to get some altitude dropped so we could see things a little bit clearer. Is that Kaiser Day Bridge? Kaiserlei Bridge. Maybe that's what it is. Huh. Not sure if I could fly under there. If we could fly through something or under something, we're going to do that like we did the other day there in France. So we'll be on the lookout for things that look like we can. Oh, because when we were coming, yeah, see, that looks like that's got something that would keep it from happening. Yeah, like there's something underneath there. So that's maybe. I don't know. We might give it a go before we land. Okay, so who's ready for story time? I think everybody's ready for story time, huh? So, there's the regional tax office. Wow, that's a fancy looking building. What's this over here? That looks like, there's another bridge. Now, some of these are probably road bridges, and some of them are. There's a Coliseum of some kind. That looks like, well, no, maybe that's not. That looks like a. It's an office. That almost looks like a sports complex. There's Frankfurt University Hospital. We'll go over here by the train station there. So anyway, story time. We were talking about it yesterday. So here's what happened. So it was the summer that I was getting ready to go to basic training, and I was visiting. Welcome back, Amela. I was visiting my grandparents before I went to basic, right?
Bird 237 traffic is 9 o'clock 4 miles at 4,300 feet to nearest. Report them in sight.
Sure, I see.
Lufthansa 103 traffic is 2 o'clock 3 miles at 2,500 feet.
So anyway,
Report them in sight.
I think I've been up there for a day or so, maybe. But
Climb
at
and
the
maintain
volunteer
4,000
fire
feet.
department,
Honda 1459er.
boy, I tell you what, this might have been a bad idea because there's just all kinds of radio traffic today.
Traffic in sight.
So anyway, I feel like I'm talking over people, or they're trying to talk over me. Should have turned off the live traffic.
103, you are 1,700 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain
Everybody's trying to fly
4,000
manually
feet.
today, it seems like.
United
People are missing approaches, missing all kinds of stuff. Come on, folks, get it together. Trying to tell a story here. You're messing it up.
Climb and maintain
So anyway, so I'm visiting, and at the volunteer fire department, they have a potluck, right? And so, because my grandfather was part of the area search and rescue as a volunteer, switched to guard. I'm not sure how to do that, but well, I'll just let.
You are 12 miles
Oh,
southwest
it
of
is what it
Frankfurt.
is.
Contact Frankfurt Tower on 127.33 when inbound on the approach.
Wow, there's some really nice looking buildings here. All modern, of course.
Tower on 127.33, Honda 1459er.
Oh, there's an opera house there too. Look at that. The new
United
opera.
46 traffic is 9 o'clock.
I want to know where the old opera is. Anyway, so we go up to
Please expedite your climb 4,000 feet.
we go to the volunteer fire department. You deleted flights. Oh, I cannot believe that, Amela. How dare you? Anyway, so here's what happens, right? I go up there and with my grandfather and grandmother, and we get there, and there's this really, well, she was cute, she was beautiful, whatever you want to call it, right? I'd never seen it before because I'd been up there enough times in the summer that I felt like I knew most of the regulars, right?
103. Please expedite your climb 4,000 feet.
So they, I'd never seen her there before, but I'm like, okay, who is she? Maybe, because a lot of times what would happen, after, in the spring or sometime during the year, somebody else would buy a piece of property there, and all that, and it would, so there'd be somebody new during, over the summer, because it's such a good vacation spot, right? So, so anyway, I'd never seen it before, but I thought, well, maybe her family's new, to the area. Oh my God, people, get to your altitudes already, for flip's sake. Goodness gracious.
Bird Dog 237 have the generic in sight.
Anyway, so as I was saying, they what do you call it? So I was thinking, okay, how can I talk to her? Who does she know here? Kind of thing.
United 46, expedite your climb 5,000 feet.
God, people.
United 46, you are 21 miles west of Frankfurt.
So,
136.5 when inbound.
103,
please expedite your climb 4,000 feet.
I'm losing my train of thought because all these numpties not going to their assigned altitudes. Oh my God. So anyway, so I think I managed to introduce myself briefly. You know, I don't remember her name. That's the sad part, right? I don't remember her name. I just remember she was very attractive. At least in my eyes she was, right? That's just how it works sometimes. Anyway, so you know, we have our potluck and everything, and you know, visit with people and all that, and you know, because I knew a lot of the people from the area from going up there over the summer, you know, growing up. Most people, so a lot of people lived there year round. They were retirees, kind of like my grandfather. So, you know, it was nice kind of catching up with a couple people there as well before, you know, since I was leaving to go to military training. So anyway, so the potluck ends, and well, not ends, you know, like the crowd was thinning out basically. And so we go back to the cabin where my grandparents lived.
Please expedite your climb 4,000 feet.
And I go, we get back to the cabin, and I'm like, okay, I can't get her out of my mind, right? I'm just like, I really want to know what's, you know, who is she? I want to know more about her, kind of thing. Just get, you know, just whatever. So what my grandfather used to do, usually after dinner, after a while, he would go for a walk around. He called it the loop, right? You could go either way, but generally you're going to go uphill kind of no matter which way you go, right? And that was just his way of staying active. So that was like the safe way of, you know, getting out the house for a little bit without being suspect, you know, without making it sound like you didn't want, you know, like, so that's what I did. I said, well, you know, I think I'm just going to go for a walk. Now, I you know, generally what we would do is we'd go around the loop twice, and that was good. That was my first mistake. I didn't clarify, or what I should have did was pull my grandfather aside. Hey, Grandpa, I'm going back up to the firehouse to see if I can talk to the young lady up there. I'll be back, you know, just so that you don't worry. That was my first mistake, because it's going to come back to bite me later on. Right? So I leave the cabin, take a left out the driveway, walk up the street, back to the firehouse. Now, wait, how is a waste incineration plant point of interest? I don't quite understand this. What is so spectacular about this waste incineration plant that it is a point of interest in this game? I don't quite understand the reasoning behind that, but whatever. It must be the most phenomenal waste incineration plant in the history of waste incineration plants. Oh my God, people. You've got to be kidding me.
You are 22 miles west of Frankfurt. Contact Frankfurt Tower on 136.5 when inbound on the approach.
Anyway. So I go back up there. She's still there. And we strike up another conversation. They're getting ready to walk back to their place along the lake shore. So I said, "Oh, do you mind if I walk with you?" She said, "No, not at all. Come on." So I'm like, "Yes." And so we now what I should have done is probably just walk with her down there, said goodbye, nice to meet you, and gone back to the cabin to my grandparents. Nope. We went out on the dock on the lake. Now here's where it gets all hallmarky, so it's going to get a little tender and stuff now. We went out on the dock and sat there for hours. Didn't even realize the time had passed. And, sometimes that's just the way it is. It's nothing, there was no, plan for that to happen. It just happened that way. Right? Just happened. And we just got to talking, and next thing I know, hours had passed. And I look at my watch, I'm like, oh my God, I got to get back. I got to get back to I got to get back to my grandparents. So she's like, well, I'll walk with you, right? And I'm like, yes. Well, in retrospect, it how things unfold here, I should have said, no, that's okay, So we leave, and we walk back up the hill and everything, and first person we run into is a neighbor named Joe Leon. Now, Joe was one of those guys who, he was retired, basically had raised his grandkids because their parents, something had happened to them, or I don't remember what the whole story was, but basically he raised his grandson and granddaughter until they were grown, and then they left and did their own thing. So anyway, so I see Joe in his car, and he said, wow, where have you been? Oh, wait, Rob found himself a little chickie. And I'm like, really, I'm like getting embarrassed. Cue the view music. Yep, exactly, Cassie. Anyway, so I'm embarrassed now because he's like, oh, I see what you've been up to, and I'm like, hold on now, nothing has happened. We just been talking, So anyway, he said, you better get back because your grandmother's worried sick about you. And I'm like, oh, God. And this is where things go really kind of downhill. Right? It gets nuts. So we leave Joe. He's ecstatic that he found me and everything, that I'm alive and well, because as it turns out, half the neighborhood was out looking for me because I had said I'm going for a walk, and my grandmother was sure that I was dead on the side of the road or something like that. And because when we get to the cabin, right, we get to the gate for the driveway, because my grandfather put a fence around the property, so like when they would leave, they could lock the gate, and, Anyway, my grandmother is a wreck, emotionally, and for the fact that she had been drinking excessively. My grandmother, I'll just be honest with you, my grandmother was an alcoholic, right? She is just a wreck. And so now I'm even more embarrassed because she's just like, ugh. And young lady's looking at me like, okay, And so I'm like, she's like, I thought you were dead. I said, I just went for a walk. But again, my first mistake was saying I'm just going for a walk. And it was generally a safe area, right? People there wasn't a lot of people in the area who drove around much. As long as you didn't go too, like the road by the lakeside there, yeah, you may get some people going through there driving a little crazy, but on average, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. To the point that, I had, be worried about the way people would drive and all that. So, we get my grandmother settled down. My grandfather, he's just looking at me like, oh, Rob, I'm sorry, kind of thing. It is what it is, right? So, now, of course, me being me, the proper thing to do is to walk the young lady back to her house. So, I had to promise and be very clear, I'm going to walk her back, and I'm coming right back. Okay? So that's what I did. I made sure she got home safe. I went back, and it was still, like, all emotional, like, I was made to feel, how could you do that? Why? What? You just don't know that kind of emotional sort of, like, just digging in and just like, you did this, and how dare you kind of thing, right? And it was just like, okay, I get it. You're mad? Not so much mad. It was more the fact that she was drunk. And so all these emotions are coming up because of the alcohol. And so it just made it even harder to kind of contend with, because, oh, look at this Crown Plaza Hotel. Look at that. That's nice, and it's right near a golf course, too. That's fancy. So that was the harder part. Not so much that I, had met somebody, and, I think she gave me her address, and I think I wrote her once or twice while I was in basic, and never heard from her again. So it was one of those situations that it was a nice idea, right? Might have been a little over romanticized on my part. Because, you think about it, you're like, oh, you meet somebody before you ship off kind of thing, and it's very romantic and la 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 kind of stuff. I was 18, Cassie. Yeah. So, yeah, I was 18 already at that time. So it was very difficult to, but, well, let me put it this way. It was a nice idea, and it's the sort of thing that Hallmark movies are made out of, right? And, yeah. Sorry, I've like, tried to look at the chats, and it wasn't so much bad timing, Bex. It was just, I didn't, what I should have done, I should have just talked to my grandfather, and said, look, this is what I'm getting ready to do. Not that I'm going to do anything inappropriate or whatever, or cause any embarrassment or anything like that. I just like to go and talk to her a little bit more. I think he would have been like, okay, I got you. Try to be home before dark. I think that's what, hey, Pulse, how are you? I think that's what he would have said. Right? He would have said, just do your thing, but be home before dark so your grandmother doesn't worry. But if she asks, I'll say that you went back up there to talk to some people a little while longer. She doesn't need to know all the particulars or anything like that. That's how good my grandfather was, right? he would have just said, you know, thanks for telling me what you're getting ready to do so we don't worry. Or so your grandmother doesn't turn into a wreck. Right? So that's what I should have done. So it wasn't bad timing. It was just I didn't think about what I was getting ready to do. You know. So that's all it was. It wasn't. It was just I didn't cover my bases so that when I sat on the dock with her, I would have, you know, there wouldn't have been a bunch of people out there looking for me. That was the, in retrospect, that was the part where it's my mom's mom. My mom's mom and dad. Yeah. So, yeah, but it is, you know, if you look, you know, of course, this was all before Hallmark movies became a very big thing, because there was cable, but the Hallmark channel didn't exist, you know. So, but if you look at it now, yeah, it's easily one of those things, the summer love kind of thing, and, you know. So, this is my grandparents, but on my mom's side, my mom's parents. There you go. I went to Fort Leonard Wood for 12 Bravo training. That was my first job in the military. Well, I think some people do. You know, you meet somebody over the summer, and, you know, you have this summer fling, whatever you want to call it, and, you know, it feels good in a sense, you know. You've met somebody that you wouldn't have otherwise met, and it's exciting, it's different, you know, they're from somewhere else, and oh my God, Lufthansa 103, you numpty, go to 4,000 feet already, for the love of God. Dude, seriously, just dial it in. It's not like they're asking you to go to 24,000 feet. Goodness gracious. Oh my God. Anyway, so, yeah, it is what it is. And, you know, certainly when I wrote her from basic, if she had responded and we started, you know, talking more and having, you know, more conversations and everything, it may have led to something more. But, you know, I think when she got home for whatever reason, okay, alright, Bex, I'll see you later. I'm sure if Pulse and Mick are streaming, yeah, I don't know either, Mella. I think they're just having a go in the chat. Anyway, you married yours. Oh, there you go. Well, good for you, Cassie. Nothing wrong with that. And sometimes it works out that way. You know, it does. You know, but that's one of those. It's a romanticized idea of, you know, of life, you know, because that's what, you know, people, you think that's what oh wow, nice, Cassie. But, you know, because that's what, you know, movies and, you know, society tells you that this is a distinct possibility, right? And so you think in your mind, well, this is what's going to happen. And when it doesn't, you kind of feel like, wow. And, certainly when you're younger, you feel a bit crushed because you thought this person was God. You know what? Wonder if I can. Oh, not the weather. I'm just about to. I'd have to pause it, and I don't want to have to do that. But boy, this takes a lot of hard work. It's not all roses. No, I don't think any relationship is all roses. I think it's unreasonable to expect that. There's going to be the hard times. There's going to be the good times. It takes two people willing to talk, I think, and work through the hard times.
Please expedite your climb 4,000 feet.
Why doesn't just whoever's playing as Lufthansa 103, if it's like another player, they ought to just give up, because you're starting to irritate me. Go to 4,000 feet, dude. For love of God, just go to 4,000 feet, and then you won't. You're purposely ignoring, because you probably had a misapproach, and you're purposely ignoring what you're supposed to do. God Almighty. What made me go into the forces? It was, hold on. Yep, OSIT. Yep, that's it. It was all basic, and AIT was all at. It was all at Fort Leonard Wood. What made me go? Well, oh, that's right. It's an AI thing. So I don't know why the AI wouldn't just go. Because I would think the AI would follow the directions to the letter. But anyway, I think, well, I always knew I wanted to join, right? It wasn't a matter if I was going to do it. It was going to be a matter when and what service, after a friend of mine had initially thought about joining the Marines, we got a dose of what to expect with them. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to go into the Marines. So I knew that was out of the question, right? So I originally I thought about joining the Navy, but it just didn't, it didn't work out that way. I just felt like it was something I wanted to do. Not so much that I needed to do it, but just something that I felt was, I don't even want to say it was the right thing to do. It was just one of those things that I just felt in my heart that I should do it. And part of it was home life wasn't all that pleasant either. So it was like, okay, it gets me away from that. So it was, in essence, it was like trading one situation for another, and it wasn't always. Sometimes it didn't feel like it was the best decision. So, but it was what it was. I got to go to Europe on the government's dime, instead of saving up money or doing what most college students do. They go to school for a while, and then during the summer, I'm going to Europe, because that's one of those things that people expect you to do, right? For whatever reasons. So, I just thought, because at least it would get me out of the house. That was the thing. But again, part of it was I didn't think long term. That's why I was telling Cassie about, if her son goes in, make sure he picks a job that is going to set him up for success once he does leave the military. Because I didn't do that. I didn't think about the future. I was thinking about right now. What is going to get me out of here so that I can do something different with my life? Because otherwise I'm going to sit here and I'm going to go a bit bonkers, right? Hey, look, it's one of those famous TV towers that we usually see in Europe, especially not far from the railways. So, yeah, there was just a bunch of factors, but what I should have done was pick a job that I could have done, or something that would have set me up for success later on in life. So I wasn't thinking about that. I was only thinking about the immediacy of the issue, what was going to get me get me out of there. But yeah. Who thinks long term at 18? I went 11 Bravo like an idiot with a 1-year-old daughter. And sometimes that does happen too. Yeah, you don't think about the future. And of course your recruiter isn't going to tell you to think about the future. They're just looking to get a contract out of you because that's another number for them. That's all you are to them, is a number. And I mean, generally in the military, that's what you are. You're just a number. You're not a person. And once you realize that, it kind of deflates you in a way. It just makes you feel like, oh, that's okay, Chris. No, that's perfectly fine. I think Pithers asked me that before as well, and I think that was well before I knew you. But no, it's a question I get often. Because it is what motivates people to make that decision. And of course you don't know at the time what you're really getting yourself into. Yeah, and that happens a lot too. I saw it plenty of times when I worked at the MEPS. Can we get a waiver? Can we get a waiver? We want this contract. And we would jump through hoops to get a waiver for the recruiter and the applicant, and then the applicant would never ship because they'd have a change of heart. Somebody would talk them out of it, kind of thing. Probably why ex-military. Yeah, that's part of it. And it's interesting because when I took a science fiction class during my second semester at Syracuse. And we were talking about, the book and the movie the book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and in the movie Blade Runner, where essentially they have these people who are they're androids, and they start to question, why can't I live longer? You created me and I did these things for you. Where are my rights? What about me? Kind of thing. And yes, typically there's been, when you realize that you're just a number, it dehumanizes you. Part of that is because then if they have to tell you, go over that hill and die, they're not connected to you in a human way. They don't have to think about you as a person. All you are is a number. You are boots on the ground. That's it. That's all they care about. They don't care about you with, to a larger extent. And it's easy for people to get what am I trying to say? It spills over into society at large, to the point where when I was in San Francisco for a Veterans Day parade, some guy just rolled up on his on his bicycle, looked at me straight in the eye, flipped me off, and took off. Like I had done something to him, like I had ran him off the road or something personally. But it was an impersonal thing, because it wasn't, I don't think he was necessarily flipping me off. He was flipping off what I represented in his mind. It wasn't something personal. It was just like I represented something to him that he doesn't particularly like. Yeah, that's Cali. Yeah, but so you have people who Lufthansa, why can't you just do what you're supposed to do? You're the AI. You should just follow the rules, dude. Anyway. So it was just but you don't think about it when you sign on the line that is dotted. You don't think about that you are now just a number, and that's all you are. I told my mom before I went to Iraq, I said, look, if anything happens to me, there's going to be people who are going to jump, they're going to fall all over themselves to talk to you as my mom. And they're going to tell you a lot of things. I said, they're not, whatever they're going to tell you isn't genuine. She said, I know. But I said, okay, I just wanted to let you know, to be aware that not everybody who says that they know me really knows me. He's looped on takeoff, just spun. Oh, wow. Okay. I thought it was like one of those missed approaches kind of thing, and he had to go around and isn't following the missed approach procedures or something. Or not procedures, but just the directions from the tower, or air traffic control in general. So anyway, yeah, I parking garage. Even the parking garage looks kind of fancy from the air. What's up with that? This is I don't know if that's just a park or... Yeah, it's just... Hello, Mick, how are you? So yeah, it was just a choice I knew I was going to make. It was just, a matter of time. I had to wait, 18, because then my parents didn't have to sign anything. It was my decision. When I called and said, yep, I enlisted, this is what I'm going to do, my mom was like, well, why didn't you call and talk? Well, I don't have any, I don't have any, I don't have an obligation to do that. I could have done that, but, at the same time, it would have been like, well, are you sure about this? And maybe I should have done that, but I didn't. It is what it is. But yeah. Oh, these are locks. Oh. Interesting. So, anyway, wow, story time just turned into... Mick's been listening. I figured you were, Mick. That's fine. Yeah. So that was good stuff. But yeah, I mean, if I could go back in time, I would have made some different decisions. But it is what it is. You can wait.
7 traffic alert. 12 o'clock, less than 1 mile, 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
Bird Dog 237 have the traffic.
Wow. Alright. So summer love in the military woes. Yep, pretty much. That's exactly... Well, because one, not that one led to the other. It was just, you meet somebody and, you're smitten with them right away. And, you're young and you don't think about things are going to be what they're going to be. And there's not much you can do about it. And certainly there is, the family idea, or, well, not the idea. How can I say it? It was a different time. Whereas if I had been in the military in World War II, certainly if I expressed interest in a woman, and I was a service member, family would have said, hang on to that guy, right? Hang on to him.
103 traffic alert. 9 o'clock, less than 1 mile, 3,900
Right.
feet, Cessna Bird Dog. Report them in sight.
But again, that's a romanticized idea of life, right? Because that's what the movies kind of portray, is that a woman sees Lieutenant so and so or Sergeant so and so or even Private, whatever it is. They don't care about the rank so much as this person is a good person for serving, and so they're worthy of you being with them, I guess, in a way. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but they're respectable, they're honorable, and that used to mean something. Not so much anymore. So I don't know if she got home and she was like, well, he was really cool and very nice and sweet and all these things that people say that they want in a relationship, but then reality sets, well, he's going to go off to over here and he's going to meet somebody else and you're going to be forgotten, so don't waste your time, so yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was just, I think that's what it really is. Now, that wasn't, if somebody was serious and wanted, a relationship, I would have put the effort in. I wouldn't have just written that person off and said, I'm over here in Germany now, I can do whatever I want. No, if it was something meaningful, I worked at it. But people don't always, they hear that peer pressure. Oh, this guy, it was good that you met and you had a nice conversation on the dock, on the lake, and it was all tender and stuff like it is in the Hallmark movies now. But, he's going to break your heart, so just save yourself the trouble and just don't talk to him anymore. I'd hate to think that's what really happened, but, I mean, what if that's how it played out? Ooh, look at, there's a Radisson. Boy, they have some nice hotels here. So, yeah, it's just not, Oh, Mill's got a day off. Yeah. So yeah, it was, yeah, Mick is everywhere. He's kind of like me, you know. He pops into both streams. He's keeping an eye on both. So yeah, it was just, it is what it is. But yeah. But I mean, I'm guessing that's what let's see if he can land in Frankfurt.
Frankfurt Tower Bird Dog 237 is 6 miles north, 3,900 feet with whiskey to land.
Bird Dog 237 Frankfurt Tower. Altimeter 29.9 to wind 267 at tree. Enter left downwind runway 7 left.
Make left downwind runway 7 left Bird Dog 237.
There we go. Let's get this thing on it. Oh, not today. So anyway, there we go. There we got story time. Flew around Frankfurt a bit, just checked out the sights here. And we're gonna go put it on the ground, nice and gentle, smooth as a baby's bottom. We'll wrap this up. Wow. Story time just took that. I mean, well, we've been going for almost an hour now. That was the Hallmark moment. Yeah, it was. It was. Without Hallmark being, I mean, all they were was a greeting card company. But now that they've branched into entertainment and all that, it's, yeah. Let's get the windows open, huh? There's one. There's two. Get some air in here, huh? Oh, wait. Oh, she's still back there. Oh, she is angry. Look at that. Must be because I'm flying again and she's not. Made for TV movie. Well, but see, the TV movie, it wouldn't have been very realistic because, of course, they would have written it as, you know, we fell madly in love and, you know, so, because that's the expectation, right? That's what people expect to happen. So that is loud. We can't have that. That's just way too loud. But at least we know that these windows work. So yeah. Yours is made for. You said you were married for summer love.
2 miles west inbound ILS Yankee runway 7 left approach. Hansaline 1367 Frankfurt Tower. Altimeter 29.9 to wind 267 at tree. Cleared ILS Yankee runway 7 left approach.
Got all of our lights
Cleared
on.
ILS Yankee runway 7 left approach Hansaline 1367.
Somebody else is going to land in front of us, so we can. We're in no rush. There's our runway right there. Plenty of runway. We don't have to touch down. Did I find out where? Oh, no, I'm not visiting them. Mick, my parents are divorced, so I'm going to Alabama to see my dad. My mom, they're still at the lake. My mom and stepdad are still at the lake. They'll be back home in a couple more weeks. They're just finishing up winterizing the house there at the lake before they go back. So, but yeah, in some cases those things work out unexpectedly, but that isn't always the reality either. But again, I think part of it is we're taught to romanticize things without even thinking about it, it leads to a lot of disappointment as well. So make people happy. Yep. So yeah, it's
Bird Dog 237, wind 267 at tree. Cleared to land runway 7 left. Cleared to land runway 7 left.
Salute you there, Frankfurt.
237.
Dankeschön for the clearance. Lake sounds good. Fishing rod, picnic, a hot flask. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, Mick. If you ever visited my folks, Dave, my stepdad, he'd be happy to take you out on his boat. It's not a big boat, just a fishing. It's decent size, but he'll go out. He'll drop a line in the water, and you just sit out there all day on the lake, just relaxing, take a little nap in the sun, whatever. Oh, he'd love to. He loves doing that. Definitely. Any reason to get out there on the water, he'd definitely do it. Yeah, he loves to do stuff like that. See, this is the only thing I don't like.
Bird Dog 237 exit
Once
runway when able.
once you cut the power, it's just like it's very hard to flare at the end. It's like it just wants to drop like a stone. But there we are. Well, welcome to Frankfurt, everybody.
Bird Dog 237 exit runway when able.
No, I tell you, if you ever...
367, follow the Cessna Bird Dog on the runway. Wind 267 at tree. Cleared to land runway 7 left. Cleared to land runway 7 left, Hansaline 1367.
Yeah, you ever visited California, I can guarantee you, Dave, if he's got the boat, he'd be happy to go out on the lake with you.
Bird Dog 237, contact ground on 121.955.
There it goes, just acting all crazy again.
Going to 121.955.
Slow down, plane.
Bird Dog 237.
Goodness gracious.
Frankfurt ground, Bird Dog 237, request taxi to parking.
Bird Dog 237 taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway Papa 10 Papa November 11 November November 10 Lima Lima 10 cross runway at 25 center. Mike 14 Mike 11 cross runway at 25 left Romeo 7 Romeo 0.
Wow.
Taxiing to general aviation parking using taxiway Papa 10 Papa November 11 November November 10 Lima Lima 10 cross runway 25 center Mike 14 Mike 11 cross runway 25 left Romeo 7 Romeo
He'd love to
Sierra
do it.
14
I'm almost certain of that. I know if my good army buddy Cosby ever went up there, same thing. Because I know he likes to fish too. My stepdad be like, let's go. So, I can vouch for that, Rob. Yeah, exactly. I get to... And, you know, funny enough, like, it seems kind of boring doing the whole taxi thing, but, you know, at least it's a nice way to end the flight, and it's not like we're just parking right over here and cutting the engine, you know. So, we got a bit of a taxi to go, but, yeah. So, quick reminder, tomorrow, Garm to Osh in the 208 Bravo. Do a bit of, if it's not a long flight, we'll probably we'll go to Osh, land, pop back out, file back again to go to Garm, and then we'll call it a day. Matter of fact, I think that's what we'll just do. We'll do a round trip from Garm to Osh and back to Garm. So we may not even follow the plan. We'll just take off and then call into the airport for landing. Kind of what we did, like we did last night for a bit, but I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, that should be a good one. Yeah. I tell you what, if my mom and stepdad had visitors from the UK, I tell you what, they would be the talk of the town for sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people would, who are people from the UK? What? They've become like, they would be almost like celebrities in a way. Oh, we just went over an overpass. That's what that was. Ooh. See, here we go again. This plane's got a mind of its own, I swear. That's the only thing, but it's fun to fly. Once you get it trimmed out and everything, it's just... yeah, I mean, you talk about a place. You know, Mick, you always kid about, you know, going somewhere where it's not... That's what Lake Almanor is. It's... Well, it was. It's kind of gotten a little bit bigger now. You know, more people buying property and all that there. But generally, it's a pretty quiet place. You know, you don't have to get up early. You can sleep in and, you know. No, it's just that it's not that big. It's, I think people would just be like shocked in a way, like, you know, like how do, you know, if you, like, for instance, you visited my mom and stepdad, how do you know these people, you know, kind of thing. But they, generally, I think most people there would be very welcoming, Mick. I don't think that would be an issue at all. They'd be happy to, you know, show you around. The little town of Chester, it's just, you know, it's very cute, you know. It's just a very kind of a relaxed sort of place. A lot of retired folks there, you know, but yeah, generally it's a pretty laid back sort of thing. Yeah, it is. You don't think about it because, you know, growing up in the East Bay, you're used to a lot of noise. When I grew up in the East Bay of San Francisco, you're used to a lot of noise. So when you don't have that, it's like it feels like you're missing something, oddly enough. Not that you want to hear all the sirens and, you know, all that. It's just, you get used to it, and then when you don't have it, it's like, okay, you know, you feel like you're missing something. Oh, there's the runway right there. One of the ones that we gotta cross. You know, I was watching last night, this guy had a, got to fly the new, Dare TBM, the 940. It was sweet. And they took off, they dialed in the autopilot thing and just sat back. And, you know, it wasn't a long flight. They were in Florida. And, oh, that plane is just absolutely beautiful. It made me want to fly in the Dare TBM again. Maybe we'll do that once I get back from the trip. Oops, a daisy. Well, this thing just, you hit the brakes a little too hard, it gets all unsettled. Yeah, it was really nice flight. So yeah, we may just pop back into the TBM eventually. I wouldn't mind being talk of the town. It would be great. Yeah, it's certainly, it's,
Bird Dog 237, continue taxi.
Which one is it? Am I
Bird
supposed
Dog
to hold?
237, hold position caution, the generic on final.
Hold position Bird Dog 237.
I don't think this is a taxiway, so I think the runway's ahead of us. We'll just get moving over there so we can continue as soon as that plane lands. This is still part of the taxiway, it looks like. This isn't a runway. But yeah, it's yeah, I think it's about time we get back in the Dare TBM. The 930. Alright, put the parking brake on so we don't roll out of here. Okay, I think I see him now. I think. It's pretty high for final approach, it seems like. Let's look at the other way. I don't see any landing lights on over there. Oh, I see it now. I see him now. We'll wait. Yeah, it's exactly, Mick. Yeah, it's a lot of generally, and I mean, of course, now you know certain areas the land was bought up by developers, and now you have this, you know, fancy communities with the gates and the golf courses and the large houses with the big windows and everything, and you know, it's pretty. It's a nice place. You know, it was certainly smaller when I was going there as a kid, and it's just gotten busier. You know. So there is a sense of there's a bit of snobbery now, which didn't exist before. You know, and that's as part of money coming into the town that didn't exist before, and so people tend to kind of take over. Wow, that thing has been on. Okay, let's just go. I'm not going to sit here forever. That thing has been on final forever. I think we can get across. That may not be the lights. It may be something else, but I think we're okay.
Bird Dog 237, continue taxi.
Yeah, there you go.
Roger, Bird Dog
There you
237.
go. There was nothing. If it was a long time ago. I think it's just got the system's a bit goofy right now. Anyways, that plane seemed a bit low. Huh. Yeah, it's kind of exploded a bit in a way. It's just again, people had the means to to go to buy the property and all that, which is fine. That's their prerogative. If you've got the money to do it, why not? But they're not. I think the thing that kind of annoys me the most out of it is that they don't have a connection there like I did, and so they come in and they immediately feel, or this is our place now, and it's like, well, no, you never were here before. It's just that you found yourself in a position where you can afford to live on a golf course off of a lake. But you never visited, all the years as a kid. You don't feel, you're not really connected to the place like a lot of people are. And it's great that you can afford and you're bringing money into the area, but you don't, this isn't your place. This isn't your, and I think it gets corrupted because of, people get corrupted because of that. But anyways. All right. Let's get this thing parked. Ooh. There we go. Ta-da! I didn't give us credit for the takeoff. Interesting. Oh, probably because I didn't have clearance because, reasons. About an hour of flying. Hold on a second. Cassie had a question. Where would you really like to visit? Well, I would like to visit the UK, Cassie. I would like to go see the Scottish Moors and, some other places there in the UK. I like to see a bit of London, not spend all my time in London, but just a day or two in London. And then I'd like to see the countryside and the Scottish Moors because I'd really like to get some nice landscape photos of the countryside and the Scottish Moors. And then I'd like to go back to Germany and spend time in Germany, and then I'd like to go back to Spain. I would also like to go to Poland, because of course when I was there, the wall was up, and going to Eastern Europe was not an easy thing to do, but it's much easier now, because the wall isn't there. So I would like to go see Warsaw and some other places like that, because there's a lot of interesting architecture and all that there that I would like to go take pictures of and everything. But so anyways, sounds good. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's on my bucket list for sure. So anyways, that's going to be it for today. Mick, I think you and Pulse are streaming tonight. Is that correct? You guys are either doing FIFA or something else. I'm guessing it's going to be FIFA. If you would like to say in the chat, please and thank you. I'll wait for your answer before we wrap things up. Or Pulse is here, he could certainly put it in. Well, thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. On behalf of the entire flight crew here in the Bird Dog L-19, we do appreciate you flying with us today. Here's the semi-professional spiel. We know that you have many options when it comes to your... okay, it's a surprise. All right. You have many options when it comes to your flight sim streaming viewing pleasures. And we're glad that you chose us. There we go. We look forward to flying with you again tomorrow. Garm to Osh. should be a nice, interesting flight. So looking forward to it. And I will see you all later. All right, cheers, Mick. I will be there tonight for whatever you guys got going on. Look forward to it. There we are. Anyway, that's going to be it for today, folks. I will see you all tomorrow morning, same time, same channel, all that usual la la la, boots on the table sort of stuff.